for Monday, the 29th of June 2020, we have Vitaly from Kaspersky talking about innovations in cybersecurity. Hi, and welcome to this version of the podcast. My name is Steve Torson, and I'll be your host for this session. One of the areas that's been coming up for us over the last sort of few months as we've been sort of involved in different webinars and different conversations has been the area of cybersecurity. And so today we've actually got the head of the innovation hub for Kaspersky, Vitaly, who's going to be sort of having a chat with us about not only this as an area, but some of the areas which have been impacted during this crisis, but also what he sees as sort of future opportunities going forward. The other part to it is how they're sort of working, how Kaspersky are also working with innovative companies around the globe. So before we kick into the question, Vitaly, can you give a bit of an introduction about yourself and also about the Innovation Hub?
So my name is Vitaly Mzokov. I'm the head of the Innovation Hub at Kaspersky. I'm responsible for the collaboration with the innovative companies and innovative people around the globe. So we are at Kaspersky at the core of integrating innovators and startups into the company.
And for you as the head, how's it been, I suppose, managing a team and organizing yourself as a corporate? Because obviously we're all sort of in lockdown, whether it be Australia or whether it be in Russia. Can you give us some examples of how you sort of been organizing that with your team as the head?
In the beginning of this year, we organized the team in the way that we have a dedicated small sub-team for the engagement with the startups. And also we have a dedicated small yet very efficient team of the people who work with and build the ecosystem of the partners. When the lockdown happened, it was a little bit challenging to organize the remote work, but as you expect, the collaboration with the innovators and startups doesn't mean that you always meet them face to face because they live in the very different geographies. The nature of the business operations in my team already several months ago was set in the way that we do lots of stuff being remotely collaborating and talking to our peers in different countries, in different cities. So the lockdown itself didn't bring any difficulties at all.
So what are some of the activities that you've actually been running with the startups?
Last year, we kicked off our Open Innovation Program, where we collaborate with the startups and we offer them the Kaspersky infrastructure and the channel partners and the clients to help the startups grow their businesses, which literally means when we identify relevant startups relevant to our business or the way how we envisage our future portfolio, we say that, guys, let's partner and actually we will give you access to all our customers and all our partners all around the world. Means you will have a great opportunity to increase your sales. And we actually don't invest into the startups. We only work with them on the revenue share model. So this simplifies dramatically what the corporate company can bring onto the table. Yet we still let the startups work on the attracting investments from the venture funds and that type of companies.
Do you make that available to every company, or there's a certain curation of the companies that you typically work with?
Well, we initially start with the so-called scoping of the product hypothesis. So we work with our business units to identify the current product needs or the future demands. And specifically to address those needs, we organize open innovation startup calls, which, for example, resulted in last year's startup call for the transportation security, for the anti-fraud, for the blockchain security and industrial cybersecurity challenges and scouting process. So we identify the relevant areas, but also those where we see huge potential for the business growth. So, for example, we are not looking for another antivirus for sure, but we look beyond the antivirus to see where we can build something that will actually get us to the point where we help the entire world be even more cyber immune.
I have to say, like, you're in a unique position, right? As someone that's in the head of one of the largest sort of cybersecurity companies on the planet, no one gets to see from your, like, if you think about from your perspective, you get to see the trends in cybersecurity before what most people, even investors, would see years before, before it comes to, sort of becomes so obvious to the market. So from your perspective, what would you say would be the top 3 or 4 growth areas in cybersecurity to keep an eye on, whether you're an investor or if you're a founder?
What we see in the B2B field, we see a huge potential still in the technologies to cyber defend the all digital or fully online services. And we saw actually how is the coronavirus disaster, lots of the customers actually started utilizing digital services like times more than before. And we see that all these cloud services, security is still relevant, and actually it will keep growing. At the same time, the very advanced user account takeover prevention capabilities are also necessary. But also what we see, and we can actually also talk a little bit more about that, we see that we are, as consumers, are trying to engage with the technologies on the, I would say, another more advanced levels. We see that many smart homes are being unprotected the way it should be. And this is one of the reasons why we recently launched the so-called All Life Protection startup call, where we were looking for the startups that help to cyber defend the smart home infrastructures. Also from the consumer segment, we see still big potential, and it will probably grow, especially also because of the utilization of greater number of digital services. We see potential in the privacy security tools. There are some on the market, but not so many advanced and not so many relevant specifically to address your privacy protection needs.
When we've been sort of observing this whole area, if you think about the areas which now have more pressure placed on them and a lot more use, like, so think about you mentioned whole of life as one. That sort of goes, an area you could sort of, from a consumer perspective, you could think about would be gaming as another one. B2B would be potentially transportation. You mentioned sort of IoT as an area, like we're obviously working with a lot more companies. You start to realize that the area of cybersecurity, it's almost like there's no choice but for it to be one of the fastest growing areas over the next 5 years, just because the acceleration of trends in everything to do with technology and platform-based opportunities effectively means that me, you, Luana, who set this up between us, we're all going to be a lot more reliant on technology for our business going forward. So how have you seen some of those trends play out in some of the work that you've been doing as far as matching early stage startups with corporates?
For us, being that much involved in the cybersecurity, for us it's really hard to identify. I will try to speak from my side. It's my personal opinion, but even for me, being involved in the cybersecurity world just for a little bit more than 5 years, it's already hard to envisage or identify some specific area or where the cybersecurity more needed than in another one. We literally see that cybersecurity is really one of the top 3 priorities, and we always were trying to, not push our customers, but we were always trying to emphasize the fact that the cybersecurity is one of the basic needs for consumers and corporates. But now we see that it's happening in the dramatic way. So then the clients actually come to us and say, hey, we need this and that. So it's not us approaching customers, but it's customers understanding that the threat to their businesses or threat to the employees is so dangerous and so much possible. So they really treat cybersecurity as number two or number one priority for their successful business operations, and the same stuff for consumers. I think everyone right now is paying so much attention to the cyber defense or cybersecurity. Back in the days, we were just playing around with the different services, paying not
we
so
take
much
it for
attention.
granted.
Yeah. And right now, we see that, actually, cybersecurity becomes like a norm. It's like hygiene. If it's not included, then something is wrong with the service, right? Because it's like a must. It's like something that should be like a mandatory capability, but not the option.
I saw on LinkedIn a post, and it was, it said, I think it was a Kaspersky post where they were sort of referencing that, and this relates to our area, where someone was transferring money to invest into a company, and basically someone had that company had their email account hacked, and someone was redirecting for that money transfer to another bank account. And you just sit there and go, that's astonishing. Like, I wouldn't expect that to, in sort of 2020, I don't expect that if I'm transferring to invest into a company that someone's hacked that person's email and sending me in a different direction.
Yes. And you would never expect that somebody is calling you and somebody who sound like your grandma or your ma or your friend. And you would never expect that this is not that person. All these deep fakes, like video deep fakes, audio deep fake, is like something that blows the mind. It's like, wow, I now should not only be careful about what I'm opening and which links I'm opening, which attachments I'm trying to download and open, but also what I see and what I hear. And I should actually verify if it's legit or not.
Interesting enough, deep fake, like I've obviously, seen it online. It's not something that I don't think Australia is really talking about enough at the moment, or I haven't even really seen it being talked about in Asia. Like how common is that now in Europe?
Not much common, but the incidents happen.
But that's insane.
Yeah, just Google it. Google a little bit. The news when the one top manager kind of called another top management that it was like a deep fake attack. So the person thought that he's talking to his colleague from another company, and that colleague asked to transfer like urgently transfer like some money from one bank account to another one. And actually, you would never expect that this is not the guy you expected to hear on the other side of the line.
But what's so scary about that, Vitaly, is think about this. That technology is in its earliest stages. Yeah. What does that look like 5 years from now?
I can tell you that video deepfakes is going to be a huge disaster in the future. If you just think about that, how many neural networks are being educated right now on people just playing around with the deepfakes. There are multiple platforms that simply can allow you to, you can take any video and you can actually take your photo and you can play a little bit. So that means these neural networks are also trained to make the video deepfakes even more and more look natural. So expect some video news with the fake video stuff inside. So this is very challenging area. It's I mean, for us, it's not like detecting the malware, right? It's like understanding and analyzing the video stream online, so be able to show our customers that, guys, actually the stuff you're watching right now is not real stuff. So that's a huge challenge.
So in future, Vitaly, when me and you are doing interviews, we'll have to have a tick in the green a green tick.
Kind of that. Yes.
Video.
Yes. I'm afraid this will be a must. To see on the app that you're using for the voice talks, just to see, okay, this is not a deep fake based video, but it's a true one. So that's, unfortunately, I think this is going to be one of the mandatory options for that kind of services.
The sad thing about, let's say, the corrupt use of technologies, that typically when it first gets really highlighted is it comes in, let's say, election time. So I imagine that the deep fake is going to be used a lot coming up to the 2020 US elections. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some strange videos coming out.
Yeah, I hope it will not be used. So it's going to just only create a mess. Yes.
But for you, like obviously innovations at the core of Kaspersky, right? You guys are known for that. You're worldwide known for that. So being involved in startups obviously provides you a way to get a lot closer to the companies. And as I said, I love the idea that you're helping empower the startups by introducing them to the Kaspersky network. If there was some examples, I think that you would find relevant for people to know about of I suppose how you've worked with different startups, what would that be?
Let's just maybe speak from the recent experience. We just several days ago, we did our first ever all digital demo days for the several business units that came to us in the beginning of this year and said, hey, guys, from the Innovation Hub, we have some B2C, business to consumer product needs. We want to see what the startup community offers for the three main things that we believe relevant to consumers: the family care, the smart home protection, and the privacy security. So we did the scoping around those three areas with the business units, and we launched the startup scouting that lasted for just literally 2 months. We collected more than 150 companies who then went through the advanced verification process with our business units and the experts from Kaspersky and from the outside Kaspersky. And this took a little bit less than 1 month. So in the quarter, we had from the coming up with an idea that we want to address those and these particular needs. We ended up in the demo day where we heard, where we actually saw the pitch sessions of the finalists. So, and some of the companies were selected to go to the next stage. And the next stage going to be a piloting program with Kaspersky, which means we together identify in which territories we promote joint product, how that joint product should look like, what going to be the GTM for that product, and then we kick off that integration. So we technically are not creating very new product, but we are shaping the product of the startup, or just doing a co-label or white label program if the startup already has 100% perfectly done product, and we integrate into our sales channels. So the piloting program for the few of the finalists from the, as we called it, all life protection, will be kickoff sales through Kaspersky in some pilot regions. And we are not pretending to be the investment fund, because we are not. And but we say that we have a big ecosystem of the partners and consumers that we offer to the startups based on the revenue share model. So everybody benefits in this area. We are benefiting a lot because of the working with these innovative companies and because of the additional revenue we generate. They benefit also a lot because they do sales through us. They significantly increase and scale their businesses from domestic markets to the international markets, and they become visible for the investors at the same time. So they increase the valuation of the companies. That means the investment funds will be more willing to invest in these companies rather than like other ones who are only doing the first steps. So we see how the Open Innovation Program by Kaspersky is providing benefits to the startups.
There's no restriction on where those companies can come from, is there?
No. Actually, we are not. We are putting no restrictions. It's a global search. The only mandatory thing is that the company should already have a product, because we do believe that we don't have that privilege to sit and wait until something is going to be developed. So we are looking for the companies who already have a product in place. Optional thing, but gives extra karma points if you already did some sales. Means you already validated product hypothesis, but also not only that, but also pricing hypothesis. This is super good.
So to summarize, effectively, if you're a company and you've got a proven product, like you mentioned, and you've already made some sales of that product, effectively what you will do is you will take a certain amount, you'll open up Kaspersky's corporate sort of network to those companies for them, and you effectively become a channel partner for those basically early stage cybersecurity companies. Because if I know for me, I know my business journey, right? And it took literally 5 to 10 years before you can actually build the brand credibility to start working with top tier corporates. So for you to help them do that within a sort of 90-day window is a pretty it's a pretty generous sort of opportunity.
Yes. We also think so, and we are hoping that this year we will be able to share lots of the use cases initially, and the communities will see the real cases where those startups who came this year in Q1 to Kaspersky for this B2C all life protection call. We do believe that by end of the year, you guys will see that those companies are doing great business, and they achieved very advanced levels in the business, and maybe some of them will finish successfully the fundraising campaigns. Who knows? But the whole team is working heavily on that, and we are now structured a lot better than last year. So we did a lot of the organizational changes, and now I believe we're perfectly set up to handle this process and to manage and supervise all these activities from our side. And
if I'm a startup, where do I go to apply to be a part of that program?
It's simple. You just go to kaspersky.com/ihub, and you see the for startups section. So you shouldn't miss it. And then you'll see the apply button or contact us. So be able to talk directly to the Kaspersky Innovation Hub and discuss the opportunities.
And is there a date that they need to apply by for the next sort of, I suppose, batch of companies?
Generally any startup can talk to Kaspersky Innovation Hub any time of the day. But we also have some projects that do have beginning and the end, and we recently finished all life protection startup call, and we are working on the piloting programs with the finalists. But we will be soon opening new open innovation startup calls. So just keep an eye, and when it started, guys, do your best to apply and join this another one, and we'll have another one and many others startup calls. But if the startupper doesn't see any relevant startup call at the moment, then he anyways can still talk to the Kaspersky Innovation Hub, because during the conversation, who knows what happened. Maybe yesterday
I had people as part of your team in the Innovation Hub.
We are not trying to make complexities for the startups startuppers to come talk to us. Just do it.
Agreed.
Kaspersky.com/ihub.
Perfect. Is there any sort of final message you want to sort of communicate before we finish?
Yes. For the both sides, I would say. First of all, for the corporates, my friends, my colleagues, don't be afraid to invest money into the innovations, guys. There are lots of the companies doing the same stuff that you are doing. We are, as one of the biggest private cybersecurity companies, we are 22 years in the market, but we see that young, very innovative companies are, yes, they are not doing on the same level as we do, but they are on a great pace, and they are will be kicking asses, really. So instead of competing, do partner with them. And the open innovation programs and such activities is great thing how you can combine strengths and then combine efforts to build a better future, regardless what type of businesses they are doing. And for the startuppers, guys, don't be afraid. Don't keep your idea only locked in inside your team. Just go and talk not only to investors but also talk to lots of the corporates. We do see that many big companies opening the doors to partner with the startups because they also see big benefits. So don't be afraid. If not company A, then the company B. If not, then company C. Not many corporates all around the world are doing this stuff. So just do your job, do these searches of the right companies.
I love it. Thanks so much, Vitaly. Really appreciate your time.
Steve.
And as a final summary, we'll actually be putting the website link on the page as well, so that people can access it. So I love the program that you and your team are running, because as I said, I know how long it took us how many years it took us to start dealing with corporates, and if there was an opportunity for us to get access to someone like the networks of Kaspersky, I'd be all in for it. So thank you very much for your time and appreciate the program.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Source the latest deals, engage with new investors, and close your deals sooner with Crisp at CRIISP.io.